I wanted to make this video from the moment I finished The Land of the Lustrous. Padparadscha's screen time is so low, and yet it had such a big impact on me. It's honestly bizarre. I went back and reread some of the parts of the manga, mainly for this video and mainly to explore Padparadscha's character, and I ended up rereading half of the series. It was as good as ever, but Padparadscha's screen time was so damn low, I always knew, but not knew to this extent. It left me speechless. Such a great character having such low screen time. But then again, that's probably the point. Her lack of screen time made her as good as she was. Short, but sweet. A towering figure, a fallen paladin who resides in eternal slumber. Once a titan, now a sleeping beauty. This is the luster of Padparadscha and Rutile. I won't be spoiling the series in this video. I'll only spoil and talk about parts in which Padparadscha and Rutile are relevant in, which frankly is not nearly as much as you think. So anything in this video are not major spoilers, nor will it ruin your experience with the manga. Throughout the series we see these small glimpses of her in this box, being treated by Rutile. Frankly, you can't talk about Padparadscha without Rutile. They create and make out this whole theme that makes these characters as good as they are. She is the one who takes care of all the damaged gems, putting them back together. We are told throughout the series that among the gems, Padparadscha is a legendary figure, one of the best warriors ever seen in the series. Slowly we get this lore around her, an air of mystery. How did such a legendary figure, someone who is respected by all, end up in this sorry state? She needs these pieces in order to wake up from her slumber. Last time, the process to wake Padparadscha up took Rutile more than 200 years of non-stop trial and error. To be more precise, it took Rutile 300,000 attempts. To her, each attempt is more painful than the last, but she cares about Padparadscha to such a degree that she is almost obsessed. She wants to see her come back, stand on her own 2 feet with her own skills. Padparadscha and Rutile were partners, fighting alongside each other. But after Padparadscha became how she is now, Rutile spent centuries treating her. She became a skilled medic as a result and helped everyone on the island. Even Padparadscha thinks that she should stop this endless suffering of trying to fix her. Padparadscha and Rutile are suffering from their immortality. Padparadscha especially is always cared and treated for, even though in her state she is no use to anyone. She lives with guilt, feeling like she is dragging everyone behind and being helped whilst not being able to pay anyone back. And Rutile, who spends most of her time when she is not putting other gems together, trying to put together Padparadscha, failing, and rarely, when she is lucky, she can bring Padparadscha back, but only for short amounts of time. Both are burdened by immortality and desire. Padparadscha, from her first ever words, is shown to be wise, smart, and efficient, very laid back and chill. She is described as much by other characters as well. She is a very good leader, and whenever she speaks, she is always to the center of attention. Her first ever words, which echo throughout the series long after she speaks them, reflects in parts of her surface level character and what she wants other people to see. These words are like a lesson she is trying to teach everyone, as she almost acts like a motherly figure towards other gems. Like Rutile, who also looks out for gems whenever they are hurt or damaged. Padparadscha does not necessarily show any emotions, aside from laughing and smiling, but with hindsight, we can tell that these are nothing more than hollow. And a good example of this is when Padparadscha first wakes up, she confronts Rutile about wasting so much time on her. But when she knows that this will not change anything, she just smiles in silence and accepts it. She knows she can't really do anything about it. But even after she is permanently waken up from her slumber, she is never shown to be happy about it. She acts like she always acted, giving advice, supporting those around her, and smiling. Someone who wanted nothing more than to be left alone and for people to stop wasting time on her can now do something. She puts all her effort into helping Foss, whilst at the same time, Rutile, who wanted nothing more than to help Padparadscha, after having her taken away, Rutile goes into this madness. Even after seeing Padparadscha alive and well, she can't cope with it. Both of them being thrown out of their roles that have been followed for centuries came to an end. Their desires came to fruition. Both of them got what they wanted. Padparadscha wanted to stop Rutile from spending time on her. Rutile wanted not more than to see her come back well and alive. Both of these wishes came true, but in the end, it led to nothing but hostility, anger, and sorrow. Until, in the end, they both came back full circle. Padparadscha came back to Rutile, and removed the pieces that allowed her to live again, falling back in her slumber. And Rutile is last seen overlooking Padparadscha's body and trying to fix her again. no longer in her madness frenzy. They came full circle, both of them achieving what they wanted, but these desires' fulfillment was not necessarily what they needed or wanted. A flawless example of be careful for what you wish for. They both needed to move on, but none of them did, and thus remained stagnant. Padparadscha said something that could apply to our everyday life, and quite literally mirrors her whole dynamic with Rutile pretty accurately. The pure, honest truth might haze the entire landscape and change it in ways you never expected, and so keep a cool head and tread carefully. These words reflect her character whilst being the very same thing that led to her downfall. She wanted to speak the truth, but out of respect and consideration for Rutile, she didn't say a word. Even though she wanted something so desperately, she did not want to take anything away from Rutile. These words mirrored their whole dynamic throughout the series to the teeth. What I found to be so mind-blowing about this is how the mangaka Ichikawa managed to convey themes, development, and change in such short amount of time, and so seamlessly. Most series struggle to develop their main characters as much as this across their whole series, let alone side characters with minimal screen time. It's spectacular. Among all these colorful cast of characters, each with their own development, personalities, and plot points, Padparadscha and Rutile still stand out in their own ways, not lagging behind any of them. But I'd argue the little amounts we get of them makes this whole experience that much sweeter. It's one of the best and most efficient character writing I've ever seen in all of fiction. The actual manga's execution is leagues above anything I can convey in this video, so I would highly suggest reading Land of the Lustrous. At first it was my top 6, but after rereading it, it went from 6 to top 2. It's honestly amazing, and this manga is an underrated gem. I highly recommend reading this manga for yourself. A shorter video, but I'd say it's fitting for the topic. Like, sub, don't be cringe, see ya.